Ho ho!
Tomorrow the competition changes. What mentality do you approach the match with?
Well, with the mentality that we're fighting for the league. We know it's a very important match at our stadium. We want the atmosphere to be very similar to the one we had last Wednesday, and we're also aware of the team we'll be facing. A team that plays very well, that probably deserves more points than they currently have, and that also made things very difficult for us in the first match. So we're ready to make an extra effort after the Champions League match, and we're very focused, very motivated, and fully aware of the difficulty.
You're coming off a titanic effort, and with many absences. Not only are players not recovering, but I think you'll have even more with Mendy's absence. Is that one of the keys to the irregularity the team has shown? All the injuries and the number of matches? Some people say they switch on and off whenever they want. Maybe it's the physical effort required and the balance between different competitions.
Well, tomorrow we're going to put out the best team possible to beat Elche. I have no doubt about that. I'm not thinking about anything other than tomorrow's match at 9 in the evening. The players have to go home exhausted after every match, recover, and be ready for the next one. That's their job, a very demanding job that isn't easy. That's why they're here, because they're Real Madrid players. They have to be capable of delivering their best version every 3 days and be ready to run, fight, and work again like they did last Wednesday.
About Mbappé. We ask you about him every day, but we know he's still going through the recovery process. How are you seeing him? I imagine it's also difficult for him, right?
No, it's not a difficult moment. I think he's getting better every day. His progress is going according to the plan we made when we decided to stop and run all the tests. Together with the medical staff and the fitness department, we created a plan. And of course, it also depended a lot on his day-to-day progress. But I see him very well. He won't be available tomorrow, but we're confident he'll be ready to travel to Manchester.
For a long time, there was unanimity among Madrid fans that Casillas was the best goalkeeper in the club's history. The other day you said you had never seen anything like Courtois in goal. For you, who is better between the two?
Look, I've played with some of the best goalkeepers in the world. Not only some of the best in the world, but also goalkeepers who could be considered among the best in history. But what Thibaut Courtois is doing, I've never seen anything like it. I said it the other day and I stand by it. For me, there's no debate with any other goalkeeper, and we may very well be looking at the best goalkeeper in Real Madrid's history, for me personally.
If you didn't have injuries today, we would probably be asking you about rotations. You have some players carrying knocks. We saw how much they gave in the last match, and you just said they need to be ready every 3 days. But sometimes you look at them and think, my goodness, maybe they just can't. On days like this, do you think about how to choose a starting 11 with so many absences and so much fatigue?
No, not really. All I have are players raising their hands, ready to make another effort. Very committed people who also understand how important tomorrow's match is. We have nothing else in our heads except beating a great team tomorrow, a team that comes in after a full week to prepare the match, watching how we played against Manchester City, and with very clear ideas. They'll surely have much more energy in their legs than we do. But we are Real Madrid. These are special players made from a different kind of material, and tomorrow we have to prove that. If we are once again a great team like we were last Wednesday, with that mentality and that teamwork, I believe we can win any match. And that has to be our goal every single day.
In the last match against Manchester City, it was the first time Real Madrid ran more than their opponent. What did Arbeloa do to achieve that, and how will you maintain it over time?
Well, the data I have doesn't really say that. From what I've seen, the distances are very similar. We ran a little less in total distance, but a bit more in high-intensity runs or sprints. I think those physical statistics are always eye-catching, but many other things matter as well. Football isn't explained only by physical aspects. There's also tactics, quality, and mentality. To win matches and play good football, you don't just need to run. Nowadays, it's very important, of course, but normally we're a team that runs less in total distance than our opponents. On the other hand, in high intensity and sprints, many days we run more than our rivals because of the type of players we have, their style of play, and their physiology. That statistic doesn't worry me too much. What I want to see is a team with the mentality we showed the other day, where we saw a lot of support, players working for each other, sacrificing themselves, and fighting for every ball. I think every player, when they left the pitch, looked back and knew they had given everything. And that has to be our mentality. That's Real Madrid. That's our DNA. We have to make sure it's not just for one day. It doesn't matter the competition or the opponent. That must always be our objective.
In the plan you have prepared, could Mbappe play some minutes before the international break? And in your plan, would it be better for him not to travel with France and continue his recovery?
You're taking me very far ahead. I just want him to be able to travel to Manchester. We'll see how he feels tomorrow and especially on Sunday when we'll make a final decision. Hopefully he'll be there and hopefully he can be available against Atletico de Madrid. After that, whatever has to happen with France, we'll deal with it when the time comes.
We're talking a lot about Thiago right now, but we also saw another academy player play with a lot of confidence, Manuel Ángel. Maybe he has a particular handicap with his physique. He's short, small, and maybe there's always been that feeling that in such a physical game, it could be difficult for him. I'd like you to analyze what you think about him from that perspective. He's a very talented player, but what makes him different for you?
Well, for me, Manuel Angel's size is the size of his heart, and he has a huge heart. I've been very lucky in my football career to play with wonderful players. We were world champions and European champions with people who weren't even 1.7 meters tall, and nobody worried about whether they were tall or short. They were sensational players. And yes, football today is very physical. We saw that the other day against Manchester City with players who have exceptional physical attributes. But I don't think Manuel Ángel will have any problems becoming an elite player or a first division player because of his physique. He's a very brave kid. We also saw in Vigo how he won that duel on the ground. He's a player with tremendous confidence, ambidextrous, able to come out on both sides with great technical quality and a lot of mobility. And well, I'm not going to say he's one of my favorites, although he is, but he's a player I believe in very much. The minutes he had the other day were not easy, and he did very well. He also works extremely hard, so hopefully he can keep getting minutes and continue showing the great player that he is.
From Manu to Thiago, we've talked a lot about how good Thiago is, but I'd like to know a bit about his situation between now and the end of the season. Is he now fully considered a first-team player, or could he return to Castilla?
Well, the boys, first of all, have to keep working, just as they're doing now, with great humility. They need to understand that they're at a moment of growth and that they must take advantage of their opportunities. Right now, there's a lot of attention on them because they're doing very well, but they must not lose the mentality and humility that brought them here. They got here through hard work, effort, commitment, and talent, and that's what they need to keep doing. As long as they keep doing that, they'll earn their minutes on the pitch. I think everyone agrees on the great performances Thiago has been giving us, and for now, he's staying here. And like many others, Manuel Ángel, Cesar, they've contributed a lot whenever they've played. Tomorrow, you might even see another one. So we're very happy to have them all with us, and as we recover players, we'll see what happens with them.
I wanted to ask you if, considering how the victory the other day happened, and even though you said you didn't want to compare yourself with Guardiola, since you were tactically able to beat City, do you feel that it's also a very personal victory for you, and that it clears up any doubts that might exist about your ability as a coach?
No, I don't swim in praise. I know that the next setback we have, hopefully it's a long time from now, or maybe it never comes, people will start doubting again. The next substitution I make will also be questioned, as is normal. It's not about me, it's about sitting in this chair. The level of demand has always been very high, and criticism comes with this job. Even people who have sat here and won several Champions Leagues in a row, or many titles, and left as the most decorated coaches in Real Madrid's history, throughout their entire time here, they still face criticism and doubts. Sometimes for me it was hard to understand, but that's what comes with this position. It doesn't surprise me, it's nothing new to me, and it doesn't worry me too much. The only thing I'm thinking about is beating Elche and making sure my players are doing well. They're the protagonists, they're the ones who make us win, the ones who always give us the joy, and my job is to get the very best out of them.
The other day, analyzing your victory on TV, Julian Guerrero said that the biggest change he noticed in the team in recent matches since you arrived was a very clear physical improvement, that the team finishes matches very strongly. Do you think that has really happened since you arrived and that Pintus has once again found the right formula with the team?
Well, everyone makes their own analysis and reaches the conclusions they consider appropriate, as Jules did in this case. About Pintus, I can only say that he's an exceptional professional who is helping me and helping us a lot. It's a real privilege to have him by my side. We'll keep working the way we've been working until now, and hopefully we'll continue finishing second halves just as strongly as we have been.
You already said that tomorrow you want to see the same intensity, concentration, and commitment as Wednesday. But historically, the reality is different. It's very difficult to switch mentally from such a demanding match to one that doesn't have the same spotlight. How difficult is it to switch that mentality? You've experienced it yourself, going from a match with maximum intensity and attention to one that is a bit less high profile.
It's very difficult, of course. It's not easy at all. You have to make sure that the self-demand we have as players and as a team matches the motivation we had the other day. It happens to every team. Tomorrow you probably won't see the same Elche we've seen in previous weeks. Why? Because they're coming to the Santiago Bernabéu to play against Real Madrid. Emotionally and motivationally, it's hard to match the level you reach when a special match comes along. That's why it's so important and so difficult to be a Real Madrid player. You have to be extremely demanding with yourself, have a winning mentality, and know that you must go out and give your maximum every time. That's how we'll go into tomorrow's match, fully aware of it. We know we'll have to make an extra effort, but that's the reality. It's what we have. There are no doubts and no excuses not to play a great match tomorrow and take the 3 points, which is the objective.